I'd like to get your thought on, you know me, I'm involved in Edge and love the topic of Edge and the opportunity associated with it and stuff. And as a selfless plug, I love the idea of being recognized by Forrester in the ZDNet article recently as a direction for companies to look in enabling, global access to infrastructure. And so all of that is great, but my assumptions in my Kool-Aid are my assumptions in my Kool-Aid. And one of the things that that I've believed for several years now is that digital transformation is inextricably linked with edge computing, because edge computing, by and large, are the arms to the corporate body, the ability to reach out and touch, to get instant sensory feedback, to convey warmth, to convey loyalty, to convey connection, new experiences, et cetera, et cetera. So do you see, even though edge computing may not have been called out as a top priority, do you see edge computing as being linked directly to transformation efforts that many companies are making?
Well, I think we can agree that cloud was never this uniform entity, right? Yeah. And the variability is continuing to be around the edge, and and more interesting things are happening around the edge. And it's certainly where customer experience is delivered, where employee experience is delivered. And so it's become a much more interesting place than just the kind of homogenous, you have a few compute regions with your public cloud provider, and it's relatively easy to manage compared to all the exciting and interesting things happening on the edge, which is where your sensors are and your data comes from, and where you delight your customers and where you empower your employees. And so I think that the edge will continue to evolve and become richer and more interesting than the center, the main part of the cloud, for the foreseeable future. So I think that we're seeing the rise of the edge for that reason, because it's going to be where most of the interesting things happen, but not all. We're seeing lots of innovation, in primary cloud, and we'll continue to see that. We're seeing more innovation and more need to be able to get arms around it, because it's not the same thing. You can't treat the edge like you can the center. Yeah. Sometimes you can. That's great when you can do that, but you often can't and shouldn't. It has to be treated like it has its own unique characteristics. So I'm really excited, because we're seeing that there's so many more now gradations between plain vanilla public cloud and what's interesting at the edge, which is all the variety, the texture, the value all comes in and out of the edge, right? So right. From that standpoint, I think things like Edgevana are needed to manage the complexity of the edge, right? How do I get my arms around that marketplace, around the possibilities that it contains, right? So we need tools to do that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I mean, and for obvious reasons, I agree with you on that comment.